Good afternoon and welcome to the Dibble Institute's May 2024 webinar. My name is Kay Reed and I'm really pleased to welcome you all here today. Helping me is Kim Krauth, who just launched that slide. Thank you so much, Kim. And we welcome Kelly and Dea from the YMCA of Louisville. They'll pop on in a few minutes to give you this great presentation on how to add youth voice when you're facilitating a program like Love Notes. Next slide, please. So if you can't hear this, then you can read the slide. But if you can't hear us, the easiest thing to do is to log off, log back in, or opt in to call on the phone to hear us. But by now, people know how this works, and it usually is fine. We're going to do a quick use of hands so you know where they are. Over on your dashboard, you'll find a hand, and I would appreciate you raising it for people if this is your very first Dibble webinar. Please raise your hand if it's your very first Dibble webinar. And finally, while we're waiting for the people to raise their hands, just a quick thing. We don't have any handouts today, but we will send you a case study and also a final report on Kelly's work there at the YMCA and Kelly and Dea's work at the YMCA. There's also a questions box in your control panel. That's for, wait for it, your questions or comments. The chat box doesn't work like that, so don't even bother going there. But if you have questions, I'll be moderating that and we'll get them to you. So right now, about 15% of you are new, so welcome to you who know the Dibble Institute and have come to our webinars before, and a special welcome to those of you who are new. Really appreciate you being here and hope this is the first of many. We do them every month, second Wednesday webinars, 1 p.m. Pacific time. All righty, next slide, please. So for those of you who don't know much about the Dibble Institute, we're founded by Charlie and Helen Dibble. Charlie saw his young friends when he retired, how his young friends were having difficulties going into adulthood because they lacked confidence about their ability to maintain healthy, long-lasting, intimate relationships. He also saw how sometimes when their parents' relationships foundered, how it impacted them. And Charlie, being a fix-it kind of guy, said, I've got that. Let me work on that. And so today, some, call it 30 some years later, we have the Dibble Institute. Next slide, please. We are a national independent nonprofit. We rely on people like you, thank you very much, for directly reaching youth. What we do is we translate research into teaching tools that you then use with the youth you serve. And so last year when we did a count, and it's a very conservative count, we estimated that that means you mostly, and we did the counting, reached 126,000 young people with a Dibble program. And we think that's pretty astonishing, and we're really grateful for that. So thank you. There's just a quick side note here. We learned through our research that when you teach young people to get smart about their love lives, there's so many benefits. There's so many levers that are pulled. There's a sexual activity lever. There's a violence lever. There's a mental health lever. There's a stay in school lever. There's all kinds of levers. So people are using it widely with a lot of different funding streams to accomplish a lot of different goals, but the intervention is the same, and that is relationship education. All righty, next slide, please. Our mission, empowering young people with knowledge and skills to successfully navigate their intimate relationships. While you can use these skills with all kinds of intimate relationships, like my parental relationship, my sibling relationship, my best friend relationship, what we really do that is both very attractive to young people and also kind of hard to do for adults is to talk to them about their love lives, to talk to them about their attractions. And we don't really, we don't differentiate who you love. You can love whoever you want because the rules, or not the rules, but the guidance and the tips are pretty much the same, or not pretty much, are the same basically. So that's our goal. We stand proud in this space of healthy relationships. So next slide. We do have values. The first one is we love research. We're big research nerds. And so if you know of somebody who's writing up one of our programs, or you have research on youth romantic relationships, send it to us. Like, we're all over that. And what that means is, it's just like some things are not quite settled science ever. I mean, there's a few things that are. I think gravity is, the fact that we go around the sun, those are pretty settled. But, is fluoride good for you or not? Well, it used to be yes, maybe not so much now. So what we learn is over time, not that the science changes, but that science uncovers new findings, and they get better at it. And so to translate this into what Dibble does is we make sure that when we publish something, it has the latest research in it. Not anything related to theology, not anything related to politics, but we're all over research. So value 1, we believe in research. Value 2 is we're big fans of safe, stable, and nurturing families. This time and time again, this has been shown where children have the best chance of being raised to be a full productive adults. And we're big fans of that. But as you can tell from this family, is this a multi-generational family of, 2 grandparents, a mother and a daughter? Is it 2 parents and 2 children? Is it an uncle with, who knows what this family is? And we don't particularly care. I mean, I'll be honest, we're fans of married families. We think, and data shows that if you can have a safe, stable, and nurturing marriage, that's a really great place for kids to be raised, but it's not the only great place for kids to be raised. There's lots of people, single parents, every day doing the hard work to create that kind of environment for their kids, and we laud them for that. So, but anyway, big fans. And then our third value is we believe that relationship education is for everybody. It's for you and for me and for our kids and for the kids next door, for, all flavors of young people. We all can get better in our relationships. There's a funny, the story I like to tell is, you think about Lamaze. Well, Lamaze is all about learning how to breathe during a labor, right? And we don't say to women, when people say, I signed up for Lamaze, you think, how smart you are. We don't say, don't you know how to breathe? So same thing here. Of course, we all know how to have relationships, but we may not know how to have effective, long-lasting, satisfying relationships. So big fans of relationship education. So next slide. I'm pleased to welcome both Kelly Luckett and Dea Thompson here. I think we're going to see Kelly first. Kelly works with the YMCA. Fun fact, I got my start being a teen director for the YMCA, so she and I have a lot in common there. But what Kelly does that's so interesting about from the Y's perspective is, when I think of Y, I think of a gym, I think of a camp, I think, like lots of physical activity. And Kelly's really working on more the social emotional side of the YMCA. She's pioneered this model of a camp approach to providing innovative programming, which is, for those of you who think I can never get these kids in, well, listen to Kelly, because she'll tell you how by using a camp model, you can do that. Kelly also serves not only on her local YMCA there in Louisville, but she's also on the Teen Cabinet nationally and is bringing more teen programs and initiatives to a YMCA near you. So this webinar will be recorded and archived. And if you have, you're thinking I should get in touch with my local YMCA, share this webinar with them, or have them, I'll just volunteer Kelly, have them call Kelly, and she'll fill them in on how wonderful it is to do this work. Kelly, I'm going to wait and have you introduce Dea when she comes on. So
perfect.
Join me in welcoming Kelly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kay. I am really excited to be here again, talking about the work that we're doing. We are almost 3 years into our Love Notes project here at the YMCA of Greater Louisville. And it has just been a really amazing project to work for, and really excited to see all the new innovations that are even coming now that we hadn't even thought about when we were originally applying for this grant, and really looking forward to what is coming next. So as Kay said, we do run the Love Notes program as a camp model. If you can go to the next slide. So the Teen Vibe and Love Notes really help meet our YMCA mission of youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. So if you know the YMCA's mission, we are about building healthy spirit, mind, and body for all, and that includes all teens and young adults. So healthy relationships are very much part of the healthy mind and spirit, and reducing risky sexual behavior builds a healthy body. And of course, it is a youth development forward program, and it is part of our social responsibility to reach our young people and get them engaged. So we are very excited about this. Next slide, please. I originally was brought on to manage a 2-year TPP grant that we got in 2021. And so these are just some of our numbers from the 2021 grant. And TPP, of course, is the Federal Teen Pregnancy Prevention Grant through the Office of Population Affairs. And so during that time, we reached nearly 12,000 youth and young adults in West and Southwest Louisville. With the Love Notes program. It was, we used it in various settings, community settings, the YMCA, the school. We worked with a couple of colleges to implement, and then we also did workshops that were smaller sessions that weren't the whole program, but still allowed teens to get a taste of what they were doing. It's also integrated in our Safe Place shelter, which is a shelter for homeless youth in Louisville. So with that, they get a couple of lessons of Love Notes curriculum while they stay there. It's usually about a 2-week stay is the average stay at our shelter. So we had 98 facilitators trained in Love Notes. We had 56 peer facilitators trained in Love Notes. And I'm really excited because that's what Dea is going to talk about first here in a little bit. We're going to talk about the peer facilitator model and how we are engaging our teens in a youth leadership approach. We had 401 attend Love Notes camps. These were more YMCA-based camps, and so that's what I'll be talking about at the end of the presentation. We reached about 400 at the school system, and our average quality rating for Love Notes from the OPA's guidance was 93%. Okay, next slide, please. So recently in 2023, we were awarded a 3-year SRA grant. So that's the Sexual Risk Avoidance Grant. And our goal for this grant was mainly to expand our impact within the YMCA. We had mainly been working with one branch in our West Louisville. And so what we're doing is expanding to all of our 13 branches over the 3-year period. And so we just recently expanded to 3 branches in spring break, and we'll have again three camps that are going to be running over the summer. I think each of those 3 branches is going to run 2 camps for a total of 6 camps. We are going to expand our peer facilitation model a little bit as well. And Dea, again, is going to talk about that. Dea is also heading up our Youth Leadership Council for the Y. And so what we're doing is we're working with teens that have gone through various programs within the Y, Love Notes included, also Black Achievers, Leaders Club, and a couple of other teen programs that we run, and she's forming a youth leadership council for the Y to inform our Y practices and policies around teens to really engage that teen population. We are continuing the fidelity and research that we do with Indiana University Southeast, and you'll see their research pop up throughout this presentation. Just they've given us really, really great data and helped us show off the program. So now, if you can go to the next slide, I am going to introduce Dea, who's going to talk about our peer facilitation model. So Dea, she is a rock star, first of all. I said that earlier when I was talking to Kay this right before the webinar started, but Dea has been with us almost as long as I have been here running the project. She was one of the first teens that went through Love Notes through the Y, and she was our very first peer facilitator that we engaged. And honestly, she set the bar really, really high from the very beginning because she's pretty amazing. So she has a really unique perspective because she was a peer facilitator, and recently with our new grant, we were able to offer her a full-time position with the Y as the Healthy Relationships Facilitator for this grant. And so please welcome Dea, and I'm happy to hand it over to you to talk about peer facilitation.
All right, thank you, Kelly. So yes, I am Dea. I'm going to talk about the peer facilitator model and just some other things about peer facilitating. So peer facilitators have been recruited from local high school programs, magnet programs and other teen-wide programming. So just as the ones that Kelly was talking about, far as our Black Achievers, far as our Leaders Club with the YMCA. So they are trained in Love Notes as a facilitator. In addition, positive youth development, social justice youth development, trauma-informed care, facilitation techniques are also provided. So I am actually working with our peer facilitators and getting them together to enhance their confidence in peer facilitating, walking into it, give and take, them being 14, 15, 16. Their confidence probably isn't very, very high to talk about relationships. Some of them probably haven't even been in a relationship. So that's when I come in and teach them some, like it says, facilitation techniques. So things that I do, things that maybe I wish that I knew, and some things that I have learned throughout my journey when I was a peer facilitator. Last thing that this one says is the peer facilitators are paired with adult facilitators. So what that is saying, like when Kelly was talking about our camp models, give or take, a 6-year-old can't run a whole camp. So that's what that adult facilitator is there for. If that peer facilitator needs to get a drink of water and step out really quick, that's what the adult facilitator is for. If this peer facilitator is maybe triggered by a lesson because, hey, it happened, that is what that adult facilitator is there for. Next slide, please. So we're going to watch a quick little video before I started my peer facilitating journey.
Hey, Kim, I'm not hearing any sound.
On Love Notes, and I thought it was pretty interesting, so I joined. I appreciate the YMCA because they have taken my community and made it a stronger place. Kelly from Love Notes, she works at the YMCA. She came to Central to facilitate a class on Love Notes, and I thought it was pretty interesting, so I joined. Originally, my teacher brought it up to us, and she was like, hey guys, we're going to start a program. It's called Love Notes. They're just going to, teach you a few concepts. And I was like, no, I don't think I want to do it. And she was like, come on, just give it a try, new opportunities. So as time went on and they taught us more lessons, and that's when I got super, super engaged. I would start sharing out more. And then I was like, this is something that I want to do. This is something that I can teach to my peers. And especially when you're really passionate about it, it's cake. And Love Notes, Dangerous Loves mean just, understanding those red flags and understanding that people do come with baggage. Love Notes help because it builds a safe community where everyone can share their experiences. Just being a young kid, you think you know everything about love. You think that you have experienced love, and being in a relationship, you think that everything is just, okay. After they had started teaching about dangerous love, I was like, okay, this is something that I really do need to know. Like, this is important to me. This will play a big factor in my life. And so I feel like if it will play a factor in my life, it will to my peers as well. So for today, this being the first class to get introduced to Love Notes that are freshmen, what I plan to do is, introduce everyone. I'm gonna have everyone stand up and say their names. And then after that, we make and play a little icebreaker game. So at the beginning of teaching Love Notes for my first class, I have noticed that they were a little hesitant on, giving me, personal experience and things that they have been through. And then as I kept sharing stories and helping them feel relieved that, like, this is things that does happen in this generation. Like, it's okay. That's why I'm here. We are building a connection. So they are starting to share their personal experiences. And that makes me just feel overall amazing. My favorite part of Love Notes would be facilitating it, of course, and then noticing that I am building connections with others. What tells me that they are growing is the changes and the impact they are making within the community. I know that the students that are taking this really, really serious, they're teaching it outside of school. to see the growth out of my peers and to see that the change that they are making within communication and finding healthy relationships to involve themselves within too is just making a great impact overall. So some benefits of peer facilitation for the peer facilitators is an increased investment in the curriculum and learning. So if you was to break this down in the first couple of words, it says an increased investment. Anything that you're, in my opinion, anything that you are invested in for a good cause or for a good reason, it's good, right? So an increased investment means that the investment went from maybe right here to up a notch or maybe up 2 more notches. I think that that is an amazing benefit for a peer facilitator due to the fact that if you go through Love Notes one time, I guarantee you won't grasp every concept that Love Notes is trying to teach you. So the fact that they are being invested in the curriculum and they're learning more as they facilitate as a peer, I believe that it's helping them as well. Speaking for myself, when I was a peer facilitator, it definitely helped me as well. Leading to leadership and transferable skill building. So since they are in these camp models and they are the ones that are mainly facilitating, like I said, they do have the adult with them. They're truly balls in their court, so they're truly just running the whole show. So with that being said, that the skill building that we're talking about is knowing how to conduct a classroom setting and knowing how to respond to teens who may have dealt with trauma and etc. And then the next one it says is development of mentor relationships with the adults. So that goes into that adult partnership that we have with the peer facilitator. So that adult that I keep talking about, that is with the peer facilitator. It's not even just, oh, okay, this adult is here if I need a drink of water. This adult is here if I'm running late or things like that. Like, no, this adult is here because in Love Notes, we talk about trusted adult connection. And although I am being a trusted peer for the youth that is going through Love Notes, who will be my trusted adult? And so that is why we have that peer facilitator and adult partnership going on. Next slide, please. So benefits of peer facilitation for the youth in the program is decreased barriers to learning and engagement. I didn't know what I was doing when I ran my first camp as a peer facilitator. I was so nervous. So I was really transparent with them, like, hey, this is my first time. I need you guys to bear with me. And they did. So there was a lot of times where I would like stumble over words, or I may not have said the right thing, or I'll be going back to my binder, skimming through, trying to hurry up and get my words together. And with that being said, with that authenticness that I was bringing to the table, they really appreciated that. So that made them want to not only just be patient with me, but engage more. Like, okay, she's learning, I'm learning with her, and not even know she's not even just learning Love Notes, she's learning how to facilitate it. So let me sit back and learn the concept that Love Notes is trying to teach me. And then also with me being young at the time, I believe I was about 16 or 17 when I was facilitating as a peer. I told them, I was like, hey, listen, I'm not your mom. I need you all to clean up after yourselves. Like, I have no kids. I'm only 16, 17 years old. So you got to hold yourself accountable. You got to make sure that you're good because they can only do so much because I'm just a kid. And they appreciated that. So it was like, I'm looking up to this person now because they are 16, they are 17 years old, and they're up here and they're running the show. Like, I look up to this person. I appreciate this person. And not only is this person just going through slides and, you know, just teaching Love Notes, but this person is doing everything to keep me engaged. This person is correcting my behaviors. This person is talking to me outside of Love Notes and making sure that they are keeping up with being that trusted adult for me. So next thing is increase rapport and trust with the program and facilitator. So that goes back to what I was saying. The peers, they were very open. Well, my peers were very open to me at the time. Like I said, because of my age, and not only that, because I was around their age group, so I knew the slang, I knew what kind of words to use, I knew how to correct behavior. So hey, I need you to not be on TikTok right now. They might be on Instagram, but the fact that I kind of know what they may be doing on the phone grabbed their attention and brought them back in. And so, like I said earlier, when I was talking about being that trusted peer what I thought was an adult, but I was just a kid. But being that trusted peer for them that they can talk to and can pour some knowledge into them, I would make sure that I check up on them and talk to them outside of Love Notes, and when they had went through the camp for the week and when they have graduated from Love Notes, I would see them out in public, say hi and speak and ask how they're doing and things like that. So that really helps with that peer facilitation as well. I think that was a thing that also brought more back to do Love Notes again and be repeats. Last thing that this one says, increase learning and participation. If I noticed that my classroom was dead, I'm like, everybody get up, let's play a game. We will get in a circle, we'll play telephone. Sometimes I would just bust out a dance move between talking about baggage, you know? So just me doing that increased learning and participation, like, okay, this is not just a kumbaya moment, or this isn't just us sitting in a classroom and just learning about love and red flags and things like that. Like, this is something so much more than that. So like, let me listen to this person and see what they have to offer and the knowledge that they can give me. Next slide, please. So some quotes from peer facilitators. The first one says, the opportunity to be a peer facilitator was the best thing that has happened to me. The next one says, love notes can be the change my community needs. That was actually a quote from me. If you heard me in that video that they just played, and that was something that I said. And let me tell you, now that I have been doing this for some years, now, the community may not be perfect, but when I was facilitating it in the school that I was in at the moment, just hearing them talk to each other and saying like, you know, no, you need to use this communication skill, like you need to use speaker listener technique, or like just hearing them kind of correct each other's behaviors, or just being more nice and genuine to each other. Whether it was boyfriend and girlfriend, whether it was girlfriend and girlfriend, boyfriend and boyfriend, whether it was friends, or whatever the case may have been, that really showed me that it was the change that my community need. Um, so that quote was from me. Last quote says, Love Notes has had an impact on my life by making me feel like a valuable asset to my youth. That quote was me again, if I'm being honest. And let me tell you, I definitely believe that I am a valuable asset to the youth. Quick story time. I was out on prom night, having the time of my life, hanging out of the window, singing Miley Cyrus, and I had one of my teams from camp call me, and he was like, "Hey, Miss Dea, you know, I just want to say thank you for always checking up on me after camp, and for always being a friend to me, and just being so sweet, and telling me all the things that he appreciates about me." So that really made me feel like I had an impact on his life, and I am a valuable asset, not only to him, but to many people that go through Love Notes as well. Next slide, please. So peer facilitation, observation scores. So 1 is a poor and 5 is excellent. And if you look at the peer facilitators, we are they are very close to having that 5 excellent. And then if you notice, if you go over and you look at non-peer facilitators, they're a little bit low, but they are still doing amazing job. But you can definitely see that those peer facilitators are outdoing the non-peer facilitators, so that adult, and I think that that speaks volumes. Next slide, please. Peer versus non-peer facilitators. Observation scores. So 1 is strongly disagree and 5 is strongly agree. So if we're looking at participants understanding the materials for peer facilitators, so they are making sure that the youth that is going through Love Notes is understanding the concepts and everything that Love Notes is trying to teach them, the materials and everything. They are at 4.80, and then the non-peer facilitators are at a 4.44. Once again, our peer facilitators are outdoing our adults. Effectively addresses questions and concerns. Hate to say it, but once again, our peer facilitators are outdoing the non-peer facilitators. And like I keep saying, that speaks volumes. Next slide, please. So if you're wondering why these peer facilitators are doing much better than the adults, it's because the level of enthusiasm and the knowledge of the program. Let me tell you, the first time that I did my first camp, I was in my Love Notes binder. I was highlighting things, underlining things, putting Post-it notes, and breaking down things that if I didn't go through Love Notes and start to become a peer facilitator that I wouldn't understand. So I was breaking it down on a Post-it note and all these things like that. So I'm teaching my other peer facilitators to do the same thing as well. So that's why they're kind of outdoing the non-peer facilitators. And also communication as well. The communication is very different from peer to peer, from adult and peer, or adult and youth. It can be very, very different. So the dynamic that a peer to peer has will not be the same as an adult has with a youth, because you can talk about more things. They are willing to open up about things that they may not open up about to an adult, due to the fact that there's age, and also they feel like that peer to peer, like, you understand me more versus a adult. Also, when a peer is pouring some knowledge into another peer, it can look different from an adult pouring knowledge into a youth, because they feel like, oh, this is mom just giving me a lecture, or there's just this old lady just talking about God knows what. So it's very different. The dynamics is very, very different when it's peer to peer and adult to youth. Effectively addressing concerns and questions is also a great thing that our peer facilitators do, and they do a very good job, more than the non-peer facilitators. Next slide, please. And I am going to pass it back over to Kelly.
There it goes. Took a little while for my camera to catch back up again. And I'm sure everybody noticed what a rock star Daya is. She has truly been one of the reasons that our program has excelled. She really is a dynamic facilitator. And as she talked about, like, we are continuing to enhance that peer facilitator model that we have, including coming up with we have like a 2-week training program that we're using with them, going over additional skill sets that they have. And when I say 2-week, they're part of the camps for 2 weeks, and they are considered peer facilitators in training, very similar to like a camp counselor in training program. So it's just a further youth development model, where they have workshops over lunch that we are doing to help them with positive youth development and facilitation skills. Also looking at trauma-informed care, self-care, all of those kinds of things. So Daya mentioned a lot the camp model that we use, and I'm going to go through how we have been doing it and some of the findings that we have. She kind of foreshadowed some of the things that I'll be talking about. So really excited to share with you how this model has been really effective for us. So the Teen 5 Camp model is a 1-week model. We had begun using Love Notes in a more traditional model, where we were facilitating just the program and trying to get teens to register for the program. And what we were finding is that our retention and our registration was not great. And so what I kind of did is I was like, okay, we need to pivot. And I was thinking about, what does the Y do well? And the Y does summer camps really well. It does day camps really well. And so we decided to try to pilot this as a camp model, where we would do the evidence-based program in the morning, and we would do a communal lunch with everybody together. We would have some field trips in there. We would have a family engagement night, which I'll talk about a little bit more. And it, again, it's adult and peer led. And so one of the things that Daya kept saying is that there was an adult facilitator with the peer facilitator. That's super, super important. But what is even more important is that they completely share the power of the camp. It's not that the adult facilitator is running the camp and the peer is just helping. They are like really, really co-facilitators, and they have equal power throughout the camp. In the afternoon of these camp weeks, we have creative time, basically, and we've called it passion projects. And if you can go to the next slide, I have more information on that. So passion projects are basically a time to creatively explore the curriculum through different media, music production, filmmaking, podcasting, design, and marketing, and more. We traditionally had been able to use a Best Buy Teen Tech Center that is also housed in RY, and so we were able to go in there and use all the cool podcasting, music making, all of that kind of materials in the Teen Tech Center. But recently, as I talked about, we've expanded the camps to other Y branches. And so what's come out of the other Y branches have been really, really fun to see. So one of the branches did a skit and then videoed it on their phones, and they're editing it. One of the other branches did podcasting, again, with like mobile tech that we have, and so you can also podcast with the phone. That group, they went around the traditional, it's kind of a more traditional Y branch, and they went around and interviewed members about their love stories, and we just got to hear some really, really amazing things. Next slide, please. And so this is kind of a sample of what a schedule could look like, similar to what it does look like. Now, these are just like blocks, large blocks of time, and they are not really, they don't show some of the intricacies that Daya talked about. And we're continually evolving and innovating this model. So when Daya came on full time, one of the things that she did was create games for every day of the week that the teens engage in about the Love Notes curriculum. And so these games are knowledge-based games. Some of them are like Kahoot games. Some of them are, I think she did like a bingo game and some other games. But anyway, she has games all throughout the week that they play. She also does a lot of just like team building games and different things during the evidence-based program in the morning during the Love Notes curriculum. Then there is, you see it's called youth outreach. And so they decided to call it that instead of the traditional passion project, because they didn't want to use the word project because it felt like school. And so it's a Love Notes youth outreach. And then they had fun games and a social hour. Then on Friday, we always have a Love Notes graduation and then a celebration. So sometimes we have field trips for the celebration. Sometimes we do like a Y day where they get to engage in the teen center. They get to swim in the pool. They get to play basketball in the gym, that kind of thing, but really celebrating the end of the curriculum and the end of their time together. What's not shown on here is our family nights. And that usually happens either like the Tuesday or the Wednesday of the camp, and we host it from 4 to 6, or no, from 5. Yeah, 4 to 6, 4 to 5, and then 5 to 6. Sorry, got confused there for a second. So on the next slide, I'm going to show you an example of one of the passion projects that one of our youth did. Her name is Jalen, and she actually, based on some of her stories that she created, she did spoken word poems that she then turned into videos. And after her participation, she became one of our first peer facilitators in training. So really excited to share this with you. It's a pretty short video.
Do I love me? Do you love me? Yeah. I feel bittersweet when I see myself. I feel the pain of sharpness, and the package gets heavier. I love myself. She loves me. I need love, but not from you, not from anybody, but me. So I ask again, but it's not me. It's her, younger me. Do I love me? With my scars, the blood, and the tears, and the pain, and the hate, and even the love. Yes, I love me, because I am her too. Mommy, old me, it's me. remotely. I have to.
So again, that was Jalen's story. We'll go ahead and go to the next slide where I talk a little bit about the caregiver engagement night or family night. So it is about 2 hours. We again get some food and stuff for the caregivers. And the first hour we do a caregiver workshop where we do a really brief review of the curriculum, so that they kind of have some of the language that their teens are learning so that they can engage in conversations, and hopefully we're building that trusted adult connection with them. We also have some slides about talking to teens about relationships and what to do if you're worried your teen's relationship is unhealthy. And then during the second half, we bring the teens in to then lead a family activity. And basically we do the sculpture activity from lesson 6, and we pass it out, and each family gets their little sculpture bag with the scenario. We do the whole walk around, but the important part here is that the teen is the expert because they've already done this lesson in Love Notes by the time we get to the family night. And so the team is an expert, they get to teach their parent, and then we do a gallery walk where we walk around and we talk about healthy and unhealthy. And we give a little bit of time. I usually ask the teens, what they think is the most important thing that they've learned so far, that kind of thing, to kind of engage with their parents in that. We've had really great success with this family night, and usually we have about 50% attendance from our families, which is really great. And we've gotten amazing feedback from the parents who have attended. I do have a quote from one. She said, "My favorite part was being able to be hands-on with activities and feeling involved with examples on how to help and understand my teens." I've also just in my conversations with with the parents have heard parents say that going through the program and then going through the family night has really opened up their teen to talking to them, not just about their relationships, but other aspects of their life as well. And so it really is a benefit for teens, but it's also a benefit for families. So it's a really exciting thing. Next slide, please. So some benefits of the Teen Vibe Camp that we have noticed just based on teen feedback, but then also some of the research that we've done that I'll show in the next couple of slides. We have a camp experience that creates memories and friendships very similar to what happens during a summer camp or an out of school time camp. There are so many stories that I have of teens that have met at these Teen Vibe Camps, and they then become friends or best friends by the end of the week, where they're then continuing that friendship on. And if you ever had a camp experience as a teen or as a kid, you probably have some camp friends that you were friends with as well. And so it really creates those memories and those lasting friendships. It becomes a whole experience. It's a whole thing, right? It's not just that I get to, I'm learning about healthy relationships in this class. It becomes this whole camp that they then look back on. They have the ability to connect in a non-classroom setting. So we're not only connecting the teens in the classroom while they learn the curriculum and do the activities, but we're also getting them engaged in other ways outside of the classroom setting, so that they can really engage not only with the curriculum, but with each other and with the facilitators. And so I think because of this, and Dea can probably chime in at the end when we have questions, but because of this, they create a deeper relationship with some of the facilitators as well as their peers. It also activates different learning styles. One of the things that I have been so impressed with over the last 3 years is when I know a lot of you all work with teens, and so one of the things that I think is really interesting is when you don't think that they're paying attention at all, and then you hear them answer a question or something like that. And so these activities that the creative exploration that they get to do, I see that to the 10th level, because I will think, oh, I don't know what they're really picking up on from the curriculum, and then they're recording a podcast talking about baggage or talking about expectations or talking about red flags, and you hear all of the stuff they actually have learned and all of the things that they are like taking to heart and making changes. There's also room for additional emotional processing. Definitely think that the ability to do the podcasting, to do the music making, to do the videos is another way for them to emotionally process the material, but then it again activates that different learning style. And then it's just another way of having youth voice and engagement. So they become the teachers for other youth, because we publish the podcast, we put the videos on our social media, we put it on YouTube, all of that kind of stuff. Sometimes they make infographics that we then share on Instagram, lots of different ways for them to engage. Next slide, please. So now we're kind of getting into some of the data heavy stuff, and I am going to briefly talk about the demographics. One thing that I didn't say earlier is that even the name Teen Vibe is something that our teens came up with to help us recruit more teens for the program. And so we usually market it as Teen Vibe Camp featuring the Love Notes program. So that's how we have marketed it. So briefly talking about the race and ethnicity in our TPP grant, because these numbers are from our TPP grant, we had mainly Black and African American youth with some other youth, other described youth, 6% white, and then a small percentage of Asian and Alaska Native. We also had 12% Hispanic Latino. And so that number is through a partnership that we have with a traditionally Hispanic Latino youth program that brings teens to our camps. Our mean age was 14, or our average age was age 14, with some sprinkled in there around 15 and 16. We had about 50-50 split between females and males, with the gender queer and non-binary also in there. And we had about 20% LGBTQ youth. And one of the interesting facts that about LGBTQ youth is when they came in for their pre-survey, they often noted that they did not have a trusted adult in their life. So that was a common thing on their survey. But by the end of the camp, there was no difference in them identifying that they had a trusted adult than the youth who did not identify as LGBTQ. So over the course of the camp, they either met a trusted adult or they were able to deepen a relationship that they already had, where they then considered that person a trusted adult, which I think is pretty amazing. Next slide, please. So Daya kind of foreshadowed this. Sorry, the slide's kind of showing up a little bit weird there, but one of the things that we began to see is that we had a lot of teens that were signing up for the camp multiple times. And so they were choosing to come back to the camp over and over again, but they were getting the same curriculum. And it was really, really an interesting thing for me. I've been working in youth development for now almost 10 years. And I don't know many teens that would voluntarily sign up to go through an evidence-based program more than once. So this was like a new phenomenon for me, but I really think it is because of the camp model, it's because of the peer facilitators, and just the autonomy and the growth that the program also allows. I really love the curriculum and how we get to do this. So some numbers: we had 26 youth total repeat campers. So that means that they came to at least 2 camps. And we had 2 campers who attended 5 camps. We had 3 attend 4 camps, and we had 3 attend 3 camps, and then 18 attend 2 times. So just again, really, really a cool experience to see those kids come back multiple times, or those teens come back multiple times. Next slide, please. This is kind of our just, I wanted to throw this in here. This slide is not necessarily just our camps, but this is our overall program that we did during TPP, and just our pre-survey to post-survey, just what our teens were getting out of it. And so some of the key growth learning areas are the knowing the signs of a healthy relationship and teen dating violence, having strong knowledge about HIV, AIDS, and STDs, as well as birth control methods, having a trusted adult in your life to talk to. There was huge growth in that. What extent do you know how to make a good relationship last, and confident in educating my friends and peers about sexual health. So again, kind of what Dea said when she was walking through the high school that she was attending, and also where Love Notes was happening, she saw that the peers were also teaching other peers, you know, or self-correcting other peers about things that they saw in their relationships. Next slide, please. So youth satisfaction is also pretty high. 87% of youth said that the training was important or very important. 82% said they were likely or very likely to apply knowledge they learned. 79% said they strongly agreed that they made positive connections to their peers, and 77% of youth agreed or strongly agreed that they made positive connections to adults. Next slide, please. So Dea kind of talked about the peer facilitator versus adult facilitator, and what I have here is the Teen Vibe camps versus the other models. And if you can see, so other models would just be the school program, community programs, other programs that aren't using more of that camp model. The Teen Vibe camps definitely outperform the other camps in fidelity score, quality score, and attendance rating. So most of the time when our teens enroll in the camp and they come to the camp, they stay the whole week. We have very few teens that don't finish. I think we had one camp where we had a snow day during winter that we had a little bit less attendance rate, obviously because of the snow day, but for the most part, once they start attending, they continue to attend. And next slide, please. So in our post surveys, we also do some research on the 40 developmental assets. And so our Teen Vibe campers show growth in the following assets. So positive values, particularly integrity, honesty, equality, and social justice. Empowerment, particularly community, seeing that the community values youth as resources and service to others, and positive identity, particularly in self-esteem and self-worth. And all of those make me really happy, but knowing that it increases their self-esteem and self-worth really just grows my heart, because I think that that's an area that we all want our teens to have, that self-esteem and self-worth. And next slide, please. And just some quotes about teens, and this is from teens that they've left either on their surveys at the end of the program, or that they have, we've also done some focus groups as well. So when asked what they liked best about the camps, this is how they answered it. I liked how they try it and understand you without a lecture. I liked how you learned to respect yourself. They made me feel like me. It helped me be confident about myself, and they make me important. And again, like, I sometimes get a little teary-eyed when I think about like the impact that this is having on teens' lives. And yeah, I just think it's really amazing. I think we are coming up to our last slide with our contact information. There is a QR code that will take you to our link tree that has our podcast on it, our YouTube, our Instagram, all of that, as well as ways to contact us. Couple of things that I also wanted to note before we open up for questions. I am in the process of putting together a toolkit for both the peer facilitator model and the camp model, so that other people can see what we've done and then how to replicate it or how to do it in their program. And so when I get that finalized, I will definitely share that out. But now I think, Kay, if we can bring Dea back up as well and open up for questions.
Great. So thank you for that. Great presentation and congratulations on the good work you're doing. And Dea, I promise I'm not going to give out your contact information because I'm convinced that the hundreds of people that are on this call all want to employ you. So we're keeping you safe.
That's not allowed.
That's not allowed. No one can. So those of you who are asking, how do I find Dea? Don't. Okay. So what is there a cost for the teens to attend these camps?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because of our grant funding, we do not have a cost, so we're offering it for free, and we are definitely covering everything with the grant to be able to offer that.
Okay. And how many sessions? So a camp, that's 5 days at 8 hours a day, or what are the days and, you know, how many sessions, how long are they?
Yeah, so it is 5 days. They're 9 to 5, but the actual Love Note sessions are usually happen 9 to 12 each day, 9 to 12-ish, 9 to 12:30, something like that.
So they're all day long, 5 days a week, half days, Love Notes, big pizza at lunch, and then they go into the studio and do their creative voice work in the afternoon. That'd be fair to say. Okay. So youth recruitment. So let's just talk about participant recruitment. You know, it sounds like some of them you can't get rid of, just saying. But what are some effective ways to recruit youth into camps?
So I'll let Dave speak to this a little bit, but some things that we've done that have been really helpful is one, the word of mouth of the camp, I think really, once that grew, that was how we got them in. I mean, one year we had to run 2 concurrent sessions because we had so many register for spring break. So we had like 45 teens in the building, which was pretty amazing. But one of the things that we've done is we've reached out to other youth serving organizations and let them know that we are having this camp over the spring break or the summer or whatever, and so that their youth are welcome to join us at the camp. They just have to register, and that has brought a lot of people through that way. We do offer an incentive. So I know lots of people offer incentives. What we offer is a 1-year membership to the Y if they complete the camp. And so this also just helps us engage them in more healthy, ongoing lifestyle choices and things like that. Dea runs our Instagram account, so she might have some ways that she also does recruitment. Dea, anything that you want to say?
So those projects, the Love Notes Youth Outreach that they make within that time frame that we give them, I post a lot of those, so I market those. And it engages a lot of the youth because they're like, oh, this is creative. Like, where do I go to make this? Or where can I go to learn more about whatever that the post is talking about? So that helps a lot too as well.
Great, great. And so just to be clear, you're running these camps when school is not in session. Obviously, you're not taking kids out of school. You're doing it during holidays, breaks, summer, doing it in the middle of October. Okay. Great. Well, what a wonderful presentation. I was getting goosebumps the whole time, but we have to move on. So if you have any questions, please contact them or contact Dibble. We're happy to have them. So the next slide, please. We have 2 exciting webinars coming up. So by the way, this webinar will be available in the next couple of days. We'll send you emails. So, look at you, Kim. So we have a special webinar next Thursday on emerging relationships. That's our newest program for 10 to 12-year-olds, 5th and 6th graders. The authors, Drs. Alyssa McElwain and Vanessa Finnegan, will be presenting. So that's next Wednesday. In June, we'll be doing a presentation on this amazing work they're doing in Arizona, collaborating with juvenile justice and a group using Love Notes to decrease juvenile delinquency, address juvenile delinquency. It's an amazing way to learn about how that system works, so I encourage you to come. And then in late June, we're offering with Scott Roby, who's a recognized expert in facilitation techniques, a day-and-a-half training in Oklahoma. You can go to our website. It's the first thing you'll see, and he's going to be awesome. It's also a trainer, so you could just send one person from your organization. They could go back and train everybody else. It's a federally funded training facilitation program, so we're not charging for the program itself, which is cost, but for Scott's time to explain it to you. So that's all the time we have for this month. Thank you all so much for coming, and we look forward to seeing you at one of our many events in Dibbleland in the coming weeks. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.